guy, 9-time MVP. I want to make sure I get these all right. 4-time Stanley Cup champion. A man who at the time of his retirement held 61 NHL records.
Jeez.
Now he's on TV, and he's not a hater. He's not jaded with the new group. Loves the sport, loves the players, loves the league. Ladies and gentlemen, the great one, Wayne Gretzky.
How's everyone doing?
Wayno, it is an honor to have you on the show. Now, the people of North Carolina.
I'm so happy to be on it today, and what a great sports day. You guys got it right.
Okay, Wayne, I'm happy to hear that. I just want to let you know, though, that we are very thankful that you made time out of your life to join us. We're massive hockey fans, and the fact that you're taking time out of your life to chit-chat with us, we are grateful. Let's get to last night's game. You know, after the second period, you got on air, and we assume this has happened on plenty of occasions this year and last year when you're on television, but you say, hey, McDavid needs to get the puck on his stick, needs to go around the net, then he needs to find somebody. This Rick Tocchet defense has obviously been a little bit cagey. Then next period, he does that. Do you think that whenever you see McDavid play, you see a lot of yourself? Do you think whenever you watch McDavid play, do you think like, man, this guy has the capability to take it over? What are your thoughts with Connor McDavid being the guy that everybody talks about could be the next great one? Wayno?
Yeah, I think we're past could it be. There's no question he's the best player in hockey. He's an unselfish young man. He loves playing in Edmonton. He loves being the captain of the Oilers. He wants desperately to win a Stanley Cup. That's all he wants. That's what he cares about the most right now. And good on him. He's just been great for our game. He's been great for the city of Edmonton. And, you know, what a year. He scored the winning goal at the Four Nations Cup in overtime. He sets up the goal last night by Draisaitl. And let me tell you, I know it's a little bit difficult to see on TV, but live, it was a physical hockey game. You had to be a man to play in that game last night. Both teams played hearts out. Tkachuk's playing a little bit injured. Reinhart's playing a little bit injured, but they still put everything on the line. And listen, it's hard to knock off the Stanley Cup champions. It's one game. It's 4-7. I'm sure they're going to bounce back, but Edmonton has to keep home court advantage. That's a must for the Edmonton Oilers to win the Stanley Cup.
Obviously, you played 9 years, I think, 8 years for the Edmonton Oilers at the beginning. 10, sorry. Jeez.
I had 1 year in the WHA where I started in Indianapolis, and we were drawing 3,000 people a game, so they sold me.
Hey, we're thankful that you started your hockey career in Indianapolis, Indiana. We should put that on a statue.
Yeah,
probably a statue of you there. But Edmonton, all anybody talks about is how great the fans are, how great the barn is up there. But obviously, no Canadian franchise has won the Stanley Cup in forever. Is this the team to do it? And if so, why do you think that is the case?
Well, this is the team to do it. One, I don't think Florida's played a team that's as physical as Edmonton. The speed of Edmonton matches Carolina, but Edmonton's a little more physical. And when you get to 3 championship series in a row, you're physically beat up. And right now, I hope Florida can rebound, but they've put their guts on the line the last 3 years, and it's hard to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. And they play hard, and they're led by guys like Tkachuk and Barkov and Reinhart. I expect them to bounce back, but listen, Edmonton feels it. The city, that's all anybody talks about. I was beside the arena yesterday, and at 12 o'clock noon, the band started playing. I thought I was on Columbus Street in Manhattan for a Labor Day parade or something. It's crazy.
I love
but
that.
The people love it.
I love the shots outside the arenas.
Yeah.
Like that feels like that happens in hockey more than any other sport.
Yeah.
And it is the entire city shows up there. Let's talk about that Florida team before the boys have some questions for the great one. You mentioned all the leaders of that team, and obviously they make the trade for Marshy. And I know back in the day, there used to be goons on teams. Okay, there used to be goons. There's always been some, little protectors. But there's always been a little greasy things that have happened in hockey. Then goons come in there. How do you feel about the Florida Panthers culture being like, hey, we're going to hit you, there's going to be some shit, and you just know that that's happening? Do you think that is the right style to win? Obviously it is, but do you think that is sustainable, and do you think more teams are going to try to be like the Florida Panthers?
Absolutely. We're copycat leagues, right? Football, basketball, baseball, hockey. Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you this. Last year, Florida was a little bit more physical in that series than Edmonton. Edmonton went out this year. They got a little bit bigger. They're more physical than they were last year. And they got the key ingredient. They got number 97. He can be the difference maker. But listen, in the old days, we had those protectors, right? Now the TV is the protection for the players. You used to be able to get guys behind the camera or behind the scenes and nobody would see it. Now there's so many camera angles. The league protects the players now, and that's how it's done.
I like it too, and I like the fact that Bettman came out and was like, we just don't want the staged fighting. We're okay with fighting. We're not trying to get rid of what hockey is.
Yeah.
We just don't want the staged fighting. So I think the game's evolving, and obviously numbers are up. Last year, the NHL viewership was bigger than it's ever been. I assume it's only going to continue because the superstars are playing so well. AJ Hawk has a question for you, Wayno.
Yeah, Wayne, did you? We see all these analytics and different things that teams have to where they can give you these shot charts on how goalies can whatever I guess they do well, whatever they stop, whatever they can't. When you played, did you have a book on goalies? Did you have an idea going in on what this guy was going to do and how you were going to beat him?
Yeah, I think everyone has that sort of feeling and belief that the more you study and the more you prepare, the better off you're going to be. But let me tell you this, the game is so fast. You can't tell me that guy knew exactly where he's shooting the puck because I couldn't shoot it exactly where I wanted to because the game's so fast. And listen, I heard you guys talking at the beginning of the show. The game is better today. These players, these athletes, they're better athletes. They're bigger. The equipment's better. The ice that they play on is better. So our game is just getting better each and every year. And you look at guys like Barkov and McDavid and Draisaitl and Reinhart. These guys are tremendous athletes. They're superstars. I mean, they're great people. They sell the game. They worry about our sport. They want to excel. And listen, I live in Florida. What the Panthers have done, Vinny Viola, Bill Zito, their organization, Paul Maurice, what they've done for hockey in Florida has just been truly amazing. And on top of that, you look at Tampa Bay with John Cooper and his group winning Stanley Cups. Hockey is growing leaps and bounds in Florida, and that was our problem over the last 50 years. We were good in pockets, but now we're growing in Texas, California, Nevada, Florida, and our game is expanding, and kids are going to games saying, you know what, I want to try to play this game. It looks like it's fun, and we're getting better athletes every year that are participating in playing hockey.
Don't you think, too, the fact that you guys are still like an old school style league? Like we just talked about the fighting there.
Yeah.
Very rarely 2025, unless it's UFC, boxing, or Slapfest, is anybody like, yeah, you should go fight somebody. But in hockey, it's like a part of the sport. It's like a self-government sport. I appreciate that.
And I'll tell you one of the reasons why that's the case. We're the one sport that carries around a lethal weapon, a hockey stick. And the last thing you want to do is hit somebody with your stick. So the natural thing is to drop your stick and drop your gloves, right? And so if we didn't have fighting, there'd be a lot more stick work. And I'm glad listen, I always say to people when they say to me, is fighting real in hockey? I said, well, if it wasn't, I would have been in more fights. Trust me, it's real. and these guys are tough, and they're hard-nosed, and listen, they just want to win championships. And you can't take silly penalties, though. You got to be smart when you do it. And consequently, if you're not, you're going to penalize your hockey team.
Hockey is such a humble culture, Very rarely do you hear any players speak out. Very rarely do you get to hear any interviews or personality. I think that's kind of growing now with the way you guys have been able to open folks up. You, Biz, the TNT crew. Obviously, Spittin' Chicklets is doing a great job. I think we're learning more about the players, but all the players are team-first guys, tough guys, and the sport is so hard. I think everybody has to respect the work ethic. I think hockey's only on the precipice of a massive, because I think there's a lot of football fans that be like, we like the way these guys operate. They just got to get exposed to the sport. You know what I mean, Wayne?
Yeah. When I first went to LA, I said, the more people that we can have come and see the sport and realize the art of our sport, it's physical, it's fast, you got to skate, you got to be unselfish, you got to play hard, you got to take a hit, give a hit. And the more people we can get to view our sport, the faster and bigger it's going to grow. And that's what the league has done. And so when I came in, I was so lucky. We had Brett Hull in St. Louis and Yzerman in Detroit, Mario Lemieux in Pittsburgh, Mark Messier in New York. Not only were they elite players and Hall of Famers, they knew what it took to sell the sport. They were great with the media. They were great with charities, great with kids, and they were unreal hockey players. So we've been lucky. We've been blessed that the people in our sport, from Gordie Howe and Bobby Orr and Bobby Clark all the way down to now, Crosby and Ovechkin, just two of the classiest sports athletes there are in the history of any sport. And so we're lucky we got good culture in our game.
Yeah, let's talk about that culture a little bit more. And you just mentioned all the heroes of the past and obviously the future and who's going to carry it. You've never sounded jaded ever about the next generation. You've never been a goat in everybody's eyes that has kind of weaponized that against the younger generation. Why is that? Is that just how hockey is? Like you showing up for Ovechkin. I think you said something about your dad told you, hey, when somebody breaks your record, you should be the first person at this. You were. You went to 2 games. You've never said anything bad about anybody. Sidney Crosby comes in. They're saying, hey, this could be the next Wayne Gretzky. You never took that as a shot, seemingly always supported it. Now with Connor McDavid, the same thing. Why is that? And why do you think it's so hard for some goats to kind of have a similar mindset?
I don't know. I can't speak for other guys, but I'm really being honest. I think our athletes today are better in every sport. There's no question. Now, do I think Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player ever lived? That's my opinion. I'm not a basketball guru, but that's just my opinion, right? Then you take Tiger Woods, probably the best athlete we've ever seen in golf. So it's progression, right? And listen, these guys today, knowledge is such a great thing. Remember those old commercials about I lost my knowledge? And we have so much more knowledge today, just from physical fitness, nutrition, practice, coaching, the equipment they wear today, the skates that they wear today. When we wore skates, they were leather. And if they got wet, they were 5 to 10 pounds heavier. It's not the same game. It's a better game today, simple as that. And so I'm happy for them. Everything I have in my life is because of the NHL and hockey. Why would I sit down and want to be critical of the game that made my life? I got to travel the world, meet some great people. It's the greatest sport in the world to me, and I love it.
You're the greatest.
That's awesome. Yeah.
You are the greatest. You guys had actual cement in your boots. Whenever those leather. Yeah, you had actual.
No. We would play on a Sunday night in Chicago. 6 a.m. We'd be at the airport for a flight to Detroit. Play that night in Detroit, but our equipment would still be wet because the trainers couldn't really hang it. So you put your skates on at 7 o'clock at night, and they're about 10 pounds heavier. That's the way it was, though.
Hey, you guys also, and I don't know you, I don't think I've heard any stories about you, but if I know the hockey culture well, in between that Chicago and Detroit game, we also have to hammer some vodkas and some beers as well for team chemistry. Feels like that is a big thing in hockey. You guys are very much a hangout together group.
Yeah, we're always together. I mean, especially when you're playing, it's 20 guys and you go to dinner together. The teams that do that are more successful. The teams that 4 guys go one place and 3 guys go another place, they're not a team. You look at the Edmonton guys, they're always together. You look at the Florida group, they're together. Tampa Bay, those teams are year after year successful. There's no secret to why it is. They'll go through a wall for each other, and you got to have that in our sport.
Yeah, I agree. I think teams come together better around a keg than they do kale. But who knows if the next generation will continue that on. Got to have team chemistry. It's the biggest deal. Absolutely. Boston Bruins fan who has quit on them, I want to let you know that. Connor has a question for you.
That's not true. Congratulations to Marco Stern, new head coach for the Boston Bruins. And
he's going to do a great job.
He's going to do a great job. And Wayne already mentioned Bobby Orr is one of the building blocks of the NHL, so he gets it. Wayne, there's a clip, and you talked about, kind of the growth of the game. And obviously they did the 24/7 series on HBO before. They followed a bunch of guys last year with Amazon, I believe. I think if kind of the more layman fan were to be able to see hockey players like yourself go up against other superstars, it might help. We have a clip of you just dusting, I believe, Sugar Ray Leonard, Pele might have been out there in a track meet. And I think most people aren't really sure that hockey players are athletes. And then they
Wayne,
holy shit, Wayne Gretzky might beat Usain Bolt in a 100-meter. Do you think, how did this, first of all, happen? And do you think most hockey players are fantastic athletes, but people don't really think about that, and they just think Sidney Crosby threw a football for $1 million, that big night back in April for Pat, and I feel like most people were blown away that a hockey player could even get their hands around a football.
Well, let me say this, first of all. It was a charity event for Bjorn Borg in 1982, and he asked me to go. And, of course, I was a huge Bjorn Borg fan. And I said, well, of course. Now, there were 6 events. The other 5, I came last. Let me tell you. And I remember I said to my dad, he was there with me, I said, I got to do well in the running because I grew up a runner. I said, I got to at least show that I'm somewhat of an athlete. So I said, okay. And then I looked down and I saw Sugar Ray Leonard and Pele, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the wrong event here. And I think I jumped before even that gun went off. I was going no matter what. But it was a wonderful event. But let me tell you, most hockey are the Russians. But in North America, a lot of our kids, they grow up playing box lacrosse, soccer, baseball, and then they make hockey their priority at the age of 14, 15, 16. So there is a lot of great athletes who play in the National Hockey League, trust me. A lot of them. I see guys that go to batting practice, and guys are hitting home runs, whether it's in Detroit or Anaheim. It's pretty remarkable. And, of course, we got so many guys that are good golfers.
Yes.
Every time I play golf, and my son-in-law is one of the greatest players ever, in two-major winner, and people go, what's wrong with you? How come you're not a good golfer?
Do you suck at golf, Wayne? No way.
Oh, I'm not very good. So I would tell you this.
Compared to Dustin? Hold on, though. Compared to Dustin or, like, compared to
you? Compared to you, I'm bad.
No, I'm ass, Wayne. I am a bad golfer, brother.
So I always tell people, they go, what hand did you shoot in hockey? I said, left-handed, and play golf right-handed. How come you play right-handed? I said, well, at 16, I went to buy a set of golf clubs. My dad said, you should learn how to golf. The hockey players have charity events, and you don't want to embarrass yourself. So I went to buy a set of clubs, and the guy said, we only sell right-handed clubs. They didn't sell left-handed clubs in those days in Canada.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So somebody said, well, why don't you switch? And I said, well, I got all these free clubs. I'm not switching over to left-handed.
Jeez, have
I'm
you ever?
staying the way I am. So, but it all changed when Phil Mickelson came along and Mike Weir. I don't know if you saw this, but Mike Weir, when he won the Masters, he had a handwritten letter from Jack Nicklaus that he wrote to Jack Nicklaus and said, I'm a left-handed kid. I play left-handed. Should I stay left-handed or switch to right? And Jack Nicklaus wrote him back, handwritten, young man, you stay left-handed if that's what you're comfortable with. And he became the first Canadian to win a major, which was remarkable.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You still golf righty?
Yeah, I'm still bad.
Wayne, I think I know the problem. I think you're supposed to be looking this way. I think you're supposed to be looking this way, brother. Not even a putt, not even putting. Feels like that is.
I tried putting left-handed for 2 years because Mike said to me, Wayne, try putting left-handed. Well, I got worse every day, so I said, I'm going back right-handed.
Golf is so hard, dude.
Oh, my God. You got to practice. Like any other sport, you got to practice. I don't practice. How do you expect to be good? Sure. People go, are you competitive in golf? Michael Jordan's so competitive. I said, competitive? I know I'm no good, so why worry about it? If I hit a bad shot, I hit a bad shot.
Yeah, and then I'll pick it up.
I'm going golfing with Darren Pang today here in Edmonton, so it'll be fun.
Okay, you're going to go, I think you're going to go scratch today, Wayne.
Yeah, real low.
Yeah, I think you're going to go real low.
Panger's about 5'6" and 125 pounds, and he's
doing a lot of golfing, though. Just like we don't get to practice enough, Wayne. We're working.
There you
Yeah,
go.
we don't have time just to be on the golf. You should play lefty today, I think.
1,000%.
I'm going to try a few shots left-handed today.
If we get that on camera, we'd appreciate it, because everything I know about sports.
I'll get Biz to tape it and send it to you guys.
Perfect. Perfect. Because it feels like you should be a left. Wayne, I don't want to say anything disparaging about you.
I'm glad. This is my problem. I'm reaching out to you for golf tips.
Bingo. If I was Wayne Gretzky, though,
Go left.
I'm fucking doing. Aren't you doing this? Isn't this like your thing? This is literally.
I played Pebble for 5 years with Jake Owen, myself, Jordan Spieth, and Dustin. I had the greatest group. They were Jordan and Dustin and Jake, so wonderful to me. But they draw the biggest crowd, those two guys. There's 25,000 people on every hole. And I'm shaking like a leaf, and they go, you didn't get nervous playing hockey? I said, I could play hockey in front of 1 million people. I wouldn't even know they were there. But to play golf, you know how it is when you go to the first tee and everybody's in the clubhouse watching you?
Yes.
And you're like, oh, I don't want to hit a bad shot. Well, try to have 25,000 people down the fairways and you're hitting the ball.
You're Wayne-o! I'm telling you, Wayne, you go lefty.
I think I have a record for the most people hit in playing in Pro-Am tournaments. I played with President Ford one time in 1980. I was a kid, Palm Desert, and I was so nervous standing on the tee, right? First shot I hit, I sliced it into these trees, and all of a sudden we heard a thud. And I go, what's that? And the president said, that's one of my Secret Service guys. Usually I hit them.
That is amazing. I love to hear that you love the game of golf and suck at it, because I do too. So if Wayne Gretzky sticks at it, that makes me feel a lot better about myself.
Well, my wife Janet is a great athlete. She's a better golfer than I am, and she's more committed to it than I am.
Lefty,
we play a lot, and she loves it, and trust me, she's a better. If you're playing partners, you would take her, not me. Trust me.
We're gonna have some beers with Wayne Gretzky. We're not trying to win. I stink at golf. You got to remember that. You just talked about how people say, "Hey, are you competitive at golf?" Michael Jordan's competitive at golf. You rattled off a couple others earlier. Tiger Woods. I assume we could put Phelps into that conversation in the sports world. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. I don't know who you put it. Do you guys have a group text? Because you guys are like rare air.
No, but Michael and I played in this charity event for TNT last year, and we were both so nervous on the first hole. You'd think we'd never been in any kind of a sporting event ever before. We were so nervous.
So what do you guys, like, why do you think, have you ever done any, this could be a deep question, Wayne, I was coming straight off of you sucking at golf convo. Have you looked back and wondered why you were so much better than everybody else? Because I
wasn't better than everyone else, but I'll tell you what I did. My preparation, and I had respect for every player I played with, and I had respect for every player I played against. And I have nothing but good thoughts. You know, the guys I played with, guys like Mark Messier and Paul Coffey and Luc Robitaille, Brett Hull, incredible people. And then I played against guys like Brian Trottier and Dennis Potvin, who played physically hard, and they were hard to play against. But when it's all said and done, we're all here for the same reason. We love the game, and that's what it's all about, right? And you're here to try to win championships, and practice is everything. And if I tell parents, I get people come up to me and they'll say, will you tell my son how many hours a day you used to practice at 9 and 10, 11? And I would say, listen, I didn't practice. That's what I loved doing. I'd skate for 8 hours because I loved it. Bobby Orr, same thing. Gordie Howe, same thing. We didn't think we were practicing. If you think that at the age of 10, you're going to have a long, miserable run of it, right? So I always say, listen, just go enjoy the sport. And the more you enjoy it, the more you want to get better, and the more you're going to want to love it. And that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, because if you're considering it practice, it's almost like it's work. And if you're viewing it as work already as a child, as opposed to just something you want to spend your time doing, you're probably not going to sign up for it for the long haul that you're going to need.
Yeah, Mark Messier had one of the great quotes years ago. Somebody asked him, is there anything about hockey that you don't like? And he thought about it for a second. He goes, there's not one thing I don't like about it. I love being with the guys. I love being on the bus with the guys. I loved hanging out with the guys. I loved going to hard practices. I loved going to great practices. I loved it when we had a tough loss and we were all together. There wasn't one thing that we didn't love about it, right? And that's makes it special.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
What it's about.
That is what it's about. That's what it's about.
My wife always says I say sorry wrong, so.
Ty has a question for you. Great one.
Yeah, Wayne, speaking of, golf and everything like that, there's been a lot of discussion lately, mostly from, Biz, he kind of started it, about how a lot of these teams who are in states with no state income tax are going to have a massive advantage moving forward because not only are a lot of them warm weather and guys can go there and play golf and kind of enjoy themselves, but you're obviously not forfeiting a bunch of that money like, some of the places in Canada or California or New York or wherever the case may be. Do you think a lot of those teams that are in those situations are going to be inherently better or have an advantage moving forward over the next couple years?
Well, let me say two things. Obviously, Florida and Tampa Bay is a unique situation, Dallas, Vegas. From a financial point of view, if that's what a player's thinking about, obviously. But if a player's thinking, you know what, I want to play in a hockey culture, like playing and living in the city of Edmonton, I loved it. For 10 years I was here. And the culture and the mindset of the people. So it's a different feeling when you leave the arena in Florida after a game or leave the arena in Tampa Bay. But you leave the arena in Edmonton, you've been in a hockey game and there's 1.5 million people who live here. And 1.3 million have watched that game, and the other 200,000, the only reason they didn't is because they were working. So, it's what you want to do as a player, how you want to approach this. Look, do I want to go to where everything is hockey, or do I want to go to a place where financially it might be a little bit better for me? Now, the good news is Tampa Bay and Florida are great organizations, and they have a chance to win every year. So that's a business decision that a player has to make.
Wayno, is Florida going to be the state of hockey forever?
Oh, absolutely. It's growing leaps and bounds. I'm so proud of the people who've done such a great job, the Tampa Bay organization, Florida. More and more kids are playing. I see it. I live there, so I see it. And it's just going to grow leaps and bounds. I think it's going to get bigger every single year. And the thing is now we're attracting great American athletes into our sport, where the guys who used to say, I'm a baseball player or a football player, a lot of those great athletes at 10, 11, 12 now are going, I really enjoy playing hockey. This is great.
Yeah, and I'm going to be a lefty on the ice, and then I'm going to golf righty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy left-handed clubs now.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thank you so much for the time, and thank you for
Hey,
giving.
love your show, and thank you guys so much, and keep going, and love the fact you guys promote hockey. Like I said, everything I have in my life is because of hockey. So congratulations to you all, and have a great day.
Well, thank you so much for that, for being kind, being a professional, being the great one. But also, thank you for doing television as the GOAT. I think there's a chance that because you did that, now Michael Jordan's getting into TV. It's
Yeah, I
good.
see that.
It's good to hear.
Well,
It's good to hear from the GOATs. Legit.
I don't know if you saw it last night, but the guys were calling me GOAT, and right now we're calling Biz Goat because he's got gout.
You're the man, ladies and gentlemen. Wayne.
Too much red meat.
Hey, that's
All right,
Wayne
thank you, guys.
Gretzky.
That's what it's about.
That is what it's about.
It's all about.
And I'm sorry to everybody else that does the hockey. If one panel has Wayne Gretzky on it, they're probably going to have a little bit of a head start.
Yeah.
That's just like when Nick Saban was at the college game day. It's like, sorry to anybody
sorry.
else doing doing anything else. It's like Nick Saban's words are going to matter. And if you're good at it, and if you're like humble and you enjoy the process of doing television and talk about your sport, you can give back to your sport in such a big way, which I think is what Wayne has done over the last 2 years being on TV. Having Wayne Gretzky promote the game is great for the game. Some of these GOATs stay away for whatever reason. They're either jaded, and I talked to them about hating the younger generation or not liking the current game, or maybe people are getting compared to them, so they get a little self-conscious on what they're about. It's like he doesn't seem to care at all, and everybody has the same opinion about him. It's good for hockey. He's doing TV.
It's unbelievable hockey. You couldn't have a better ambassador for the game. I mean, the great one, the greatest of all time. And the fact that he says the game is better now than it was when I played, and the athletes are better, hopefully Michael Jordan becomes the Wayne Gretzky of basketball broadcasting and everything. Where all of a sudden here, he gives us that perspective.